This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian. It's movie reviews and more. And if it's Tuesday, it is always Given Tuesday. So with that, I say always give to your favorite charities, no matter what they may be. St. Jude's Hospital was ours, Hand in Hand from Edie Hand from Alabama is another one, and the Dream Weaver Arts, Dream Weaver Artist Ranch. Always love that. And if it's Tuesday, obviously we're streaming live on worldwide over 100 outlets. Talk for TV, Talk for Media, Talk for Radio. K4HD radio, I should say. And no, you know what it was? Michael threw me off guard. He came in. I'm like, there he is. He's that guy with the guy. And I love this because Terry usually does that. Tosh usually does that. So then I just go off a script because I'm just talking them off the top of my head anyhow. So I've been looking forward to the show. And you know why? Because it's about you speakers. It's about you authors. It's about that, we could change the world with one conversation at a time. Who said that? My friend Susan Post. But the other thing about that is it's also about that guy who knows a guy. And I'm so glad that Michael Whitehouse, I'm really glad that I got a chance to meet him because I love what he does. I love his Entrepreneurs Village. And that's where I met this strange guy over here, the magician, the Dean of Success, when it calls all these things like that. And so I'm going to do this differently. I want everybody just to brag on who they are. You get a chance to talk about everything. Michael's got a lot of stuff coming up. And I wanted Susan to meet Michael. And I wanted Linda Steele to meet Michael. And she may pop in because she's at the gym training one of her heavy clients. So, I got to start off with women first. Susan, actually mean Howard. But, Susan, let's start off with you because all the way from Saskatchewan, Canada. And I love saying that because there was a time when I couldn't say that word. And I learned a lot about that town that she grew up in. And then, when you play volleyball and you do all these great things, I think I'm talking about the book. Susan, I had your book and I gave it to a friend who enjoyed it. And when it was in Atlanta. So anytime I have my friend's books, I'm giving it to the person that needs it. She goes, how did you know I need it? And I'm like, I didn't know, but I carried it around. And they were really, really happy about that. So when I have people's books, I always make sure I give them to that right person who needs it at the blank time. Susan, tell everybody who you are, where you're coming from, why I like you, and why we're friends.
Well, we're friends because I think you're just a really wonderful person, and I really appreciate everything you're doing to help me market my book. And I came from Saskatchewan, Canada, grew up on a farm, didn't have running water till I was 6, and moved out ultimately to Toronto first and then to LA. I was in medical sales for over 30 years, and for about 25 of those years, I was learning how to be a better sales rep and learning to be a better communicator. And my coach, my mentor in that aspect is a woman named Marsha Martin. She used to be the VP of Landmark. She broke away from Landmark basically to help Tony Robbins start his business many, many years ago. And then she branched off on her own as well. And so she's been my mentor, my friend, and I basically took all of her work and put it into a book to share with everyone.
See, and with that, that's where we lit off and go back into the guy that knows the guy. Because Michael has some great stuff. He's got an event coming up, and I was just honored that he let me speak at his. He didn't have to, but he did. And then that's where I met Dean and a couple other people that we become friends with. And, I think that's really why he put a lot of things together, because he wants to do things like this. How can he serve you? It's about doing the guy who knows the guy. Entrepreneur Village, all these other events that he has. All right, Michael, take it away. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, why we like you and why this other strange guy, Dean, is on here because of you also.
Well, yeah, so I'm coming from another strangely named place called Connecticut. And so, I'm here so you can meet more famous people like Dean. So I can now get out of the way. My job is done. You've got someone better. No, so I got plenty more, not as good as Dean, but add 2 or 3 of them together and you get up there. Anyway, so yeah, I am a compulsive networker. I got into networking. Some people say, Michael, why are you such a big networker? I say, because I'm not good at anything else. If I had skills of graphic design or copywriting or sales training, I'd be doing that. Because I know plenty of great networkers, but you don't know them as networkers. You know them as teachers or copywriters or sales trainers. I'm a great networker because nothing supersedes that. But I wrote it all down in 2017, this book called The Guy Who Knows a Guy, because at the time I was a print salesman. And so when I try to talk to people about things like some marketing advice, they'd be like, yeah, marketing advice about how you can order my business cards. Here, take an order. Give me $60. So I said, if I wrote a book, I'd be an author. And sure enough, as soon as I wrote a book, I got to put author on my business card. So that's why I wrote it. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people ended up doing business with me because they liked it. And so I do run a lot of events, partly because it's easier than making 1,200 introductions. So I run interactive virtual summits, like the Breakthrough Summit that Brian was on. I think that's summit you're on. And I run 2 a month on average. So they all start blurring together after a while. Someone's like, yeah, I was on that summit. I was like, you got to be a little more specific. I also run a networking event called JV Connect, which is a dedicated networking event. So I get fed up with networking events that had 2 hours of networking and 6 hours of day. So when I run a 6-hour networking event, there's 6 hours of networking. There's like 15 minutes of introduction. There's 5 hours and 45 minutes of networking in 6 hours. And so it's interesting to talk about giving. I was actually just speaking to a client in Rwanda who runs a nonprofit. I guess they call it an NGO over there. But they're teaching people, giving them skills to find opportunities. They've got a place for homeless people to live, and they hired me to run a summit to connect them with people in the Western world who have money to give. Because what is sort of pocket change for us can keep them running. I think they need like $100,000 for everything they're doing for the year. So it's not no money, but compared to what it would take to do that over here, it's not that much. So I'm very excited to be working with them. And that just happened today. And the other thing I've got going on, speaking of books, I should get you a few copies of this. I have a new book, which is apparently, it is called, I'm gone. I'm back. There we go. Now I'm big. The View from the Deck, Thoughts on Values, Vision, and Gratitude. You can find it on Amazon. Ignore this, not for resale. This is the early copy. My actual copy's upstairs. But I came up with this. The story behind this is I was coaching a couple clients. This is 2 years ago. I wrote it. And the first thing I asked them is like, give me your vision. You're in the future. Everything's gone right. What's your life look like? And they both said some variation of, well, I'm going to have a nice house. It's going to have a big deck overlooking a beautiful view. And I'll get up in the morning, go to the kitchen, make my coffee, and go out on the deck and drink my coffee, looking out over the view. Next morning, I get up in my relatively nice house, go to the kitchen, go out to the deck, drink my coffee, look out into the woods over the backyard and say, this sounds familiar. Wait a minute. I'm living the dream of 2 of my clients. And this is like their 5 to 10 year dream. Now, I don't overlook like beautiful vista of mountains, but I like my view that's into the woods that are the buffer space between a residential neighborhood and a strip mall. But I like it. It's just distant enough so that we feel isolated and close enough to everything. So I feel like in the middle of things. But I realized I was living someone else's dream. And then I realized I was living some parts of the dream of myself 5 or 10 years ago. And that's how I then built that out into a whole book on values, vision, and gratitude, which you can get on Amazon. And, it really is all about the money because I make like $3.20 every time you buy one of these. So, that's my plan to get rich. So yeah, sorry to make a big ticket offer on your show here. But.
No, you're more than welcome to do it. That's what it's about, right, Susan? Right, Dean? If you don't sell it, don't smell it. It's one of those things. If you have it, show it. And I like that. It's appreciated because all of a sudden people start ordering things right away. And that's what you want. So take it away, continue, because we're going to Dean next. And then we'll go to Terry and Howard. Oh, Michael's speechless now.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going Dean. Yeah. So, and when you go on Amazon, if you search for Michael Whitehouse, there's a different Michael Whitehouse who writes horror. He's not me. I don't write horror. I mean, I guess if you're really afraid of values, vision, or gratitude, or if you really hate networking, then you might consider this horror. But that's the other Michael Whitehouse in England. So it's been quite a journey. Back in 2020, I made the decision I'm going to follow my path wherever it leads, because the pandemic sort of cut off what I was doing before. I said, well, instead of finding some other job or some other 1099 independent opportunity that takes 40 hours a week and doesn't have a reliable paycheck, I'm going to do my own thing with an unreliable paycheck. And sure enough, it's allowed me to follow opportunities. That's how I discovered the Great Discovery and pursued that. That's how I've been able to get into summits and pursue that. That's how I've gotten to meet all these awesome people and do that. I'm tentatively running an event. I believe it's going to be in the fall. I need to work out more of the details based on JV Connect, called Hollywood Connect, because I was talking to someone who has my mentality but lives in Hollywood and is saying, I need to connect more of these people. And I said, well, I got this virtual event format. Maybe we should put them together. So, Brian, I'll let me be talking to you more about that as that gets coming. I think you know a couple people in Hollywood. Is that one or two?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, maybe 3 or 4. Awesome. Yeah, that's even better. So I've got all these cool things happening. And while I cannot buy a fancy mansion up in the mountains overlooking a lake.
You don't need it anymore.
I got some pretty cool things going on right now. So
you're in Connecticut. It's a great state. I grew up there.
Yes. And then you left.
Well, I left for Hollywood. That's why.
Okay.
I had to. Hey, with that, all right. So because of this, I love watching what Dean is doing. The Dean of Success. This guy has done everything. He's been on every network, probably every cruise. So Dean, I don't like to brag for people. I like to have them brag. So for this, you can be humble. You can just show it all off, but you can just do you. Talk about what it's like to be you, that speaker, that entrepreneur, that person who also likes to connect people. And I met you through Michael, and I wanted to have you both on because I like what you both do. You both almost, to me, do similar things. And here at Movie Reviews and More, I really like that because when it comes to interviewing celebrities, Terry does a lot of that stuff for red carpets. Susan they're going to both be at one of the events for Ed Ashner. I can't be there. I'm going to be in Tennessee, so that'll be something that Terry talks about in a minute. But Dean, talk about who you are, where you're coming from, what makes you unique, and then how you met Michael to where we all are right now.
Well, here's what I'd like to say is that when I grow up, I want to grow up to be Brian and Michael. Thank you. Good night. Try to be on. We're here through Sunday. I'm a multi-passionate professional weirdo like most of us here in the arts and whatnot. So imagine for a second if Tony Robbins and David Copperfield had a baby. Yeah, I'm the charismatic marketing magician and people pro, and I simply put people together, help them generate results and fun and get to do what you love to do and make massive money in the process, get to sleep really, really good at night because you're helping groups and organizations all over the world. That's really kind of my jam. Was raised up in an industry of, as you know, best recognized for our failures. I mean, in show business, we fail so spectacularly that we have our own unique designation called starving artist, right? You've heard this before. What's that old terrible joke about show business? What's the difference between a performer and a pizza? A pizza can feed a family of 4. Ba-dum-bum. It's incredibly bad, incredibly bad. And yet, for most starving artist is the moniker of the day. It is how it works, So I decided and figured out that there is a difference between a performer and a producer. And I decided I wanted to perform, but I wanted to get paid. I wanted to make money. I wanted to help people. I wanted to make a difference. And so I became a producer. So I produced shows in casinos, cruise ships, corporate events, and online for the last 15 years and all kinds of stuff. So I just help groups and organizations, mostly charitable cause groups and organizations. And we've raised well over $20 million for charitable cause groups simply by doing what we love. Michael gets to speak, Brian gets to speak, Susan gets to share, Howard gets to share, Terry you get to do what you love. and you get to make really good money by, I don't know, helping other people. So
Exactly.
that's it. That's our jam. We help people to help people who help people.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, tell them who you are, where you're coming from.
My name is Terry Marie. My brand is Nonstop because of Nonstop. But today I am actually in the Central Coast at Pismo Beach, looking at the ocean. It's absolutely beautiful here. I come up here quite a bit for work. Susan and I have a lot in common. Being in the orthopedic world, I'm in medical sales, and I work with bracing and supports with orthopedics, with hospitals. Obviously, I do a lot of networking, and my call base is very interesting because I deal again with athletic trainers. I deal with the purchasing people at hospitals. I deal with CEOs of orthopedic clinics. I deal with patients because sometimes I fit the patients for their OA braces or their functional braces, which all the NFL uses our braces. So that'll give you a little bit. Tom Brady uses our braces, so that kind of gives you an idea who I work for. But Susan and I come from the same background as far as medical sales, and I've been lucky to be doing that for a long time. But also, I'm a fitness competitor. I've won several competitions. I was Miss Bikini LA Masters in 2016, and I won my first show at the age of 46. I won Muscle Beach bikini. I got second overall. Let me see what else. MPC, I've won a couple of times in the Masters division. I'm trying to get my butt back on stage. COVID kind of put a dent into my fitness side because I didn't want to compete, and then I had a lot of family stuff, which Susan knows about again, dealing with a mom with Alzheimer's. And so Susan and I might do something to bring together Alzheimer's awareness, because this whole experience with my mother has just opened up a kind of sad reality on elders and how to take care of them. And Susan understands this, and there's a lot of people that take advantage of them, even family members. And it's a growing experience. It's been quite hard. I don't want to get off a tangent because I'm talking about all the stuff I do, but as Brian said, do entertainment hosting for the red carpet for Brian. And then with Brian for over 10 years. I also dabble in a little bit of art. I've been acting, and I've been acting my whole life off and on. So I've been in a couple movies and some commercials. So I'm always trying to grow and to become a better person. I mean, again, sometimes, we all get hit and knocked down, but you got to get back up and keep going. So, but that's me.
See, she got knocked down.
Anyway.
All right, so we go to the world of country. So I like this guy. Every time I go to Tennessee, Howard and I, we have a fun time. We always do something different, but he is a legend. Howard, you are a legend. I realized that after talking to Willie Nelson and a couple other people recently on things. Yeah, we were talking about his documentary. I wanted to get him, and then we have Bernie Taupin coming up, Elton John's writing partner. So you may come with me, which would be June 7th. June 7th? Yeah, the weekend of the CMAs there in Nashville. So Howard, tell them who you are, what room you're in, and I want to know what hat you're wearing.
I'm Howard Wiggins. I'm son of Little Roy Wiggins, who played steel guitar with Eddie Arnold and many other people like Lori Morgan and stuff. I was one of the world's 35 leading interior designers. I'm in Andrew Martin book, volume 3, which you can still get in any bookstore. I'm in 2 Christmas book, and my third one's coming out this year. I think it's going to be out in September, ready, and it's going to be Patricia McMillan, and it's just going to be a reissue of a previous one, but plus others. I've done a few little movies. I've done little modeling. I've done a voiceover called Over the Hill and Through the Woods, where I play a rabbit called Nigel, which that writer's going to be on a show pretty soon. And I'm turning 71 in September, and I just want to see where life takes me. I enjoy dancing. I enjoy partying. I just have fun. So I'll do whatever Brian wants. I just love to party, don't we, Brian?
Yeah, and he doesn't drink or smoke, so he looks good. Susan, talk about your book. Talk about the world of volleyball, because everything goes together these days now.
Well, so my book, basically, it's kind of for anybody who's familiar with landmark performance, landmark in a book. There are exercises for the experiential part, although I really believe that live training, does so much more on an experiential level. And but you can't always get to live training, and the exercises in my book really help you to get in touch with yourself. It's awareness and centeredness, and then really understanding on a communication level how to listen so well. I talk about the Zen of listening, to become a Zen level listener, similar to a Zen level athlete. Kobe was a Zen level basketball player. That Zen level listener will be in the conversation, in the presentation, listening and speaking at the same time, taking full part in the conversation while observing where it's going and being able to really listen to the listeners. And it's understanding, like, people think about listening and hearing as being the same thing. And, true listening is really, it's a combination of the physiology of hearing and combining that with our interpretation of what we hear. So listening is really hearing plus interpretation. And so what I've really done is created a book to really help people understand how they, first of all, interpret what they hear, and really what you hear, see, experience, and then to be able to listen so well that you start to become aware of where the people listening to you are coming from, how they're interpreting. And so you're listening to your listeners listening as well. And it's just a much higher level of connection, the ability to really connect and get on that deep level of communication. And the takeaway is so much more intimate and so much more accurate when we get to that level. And Dean knows what I'm talking about, because I'm sure Dean does that. I'm sure Michael does that. And I bet Howard does that too. I mean, people in this type of industry, we've developed these skills. There are so many people out there in corporate America, running around, through life like a bull in a china shop, not even understanding how off they are and some of the assumptions they make and some of the interpretations they make. And, people go into a conversation together and they leave, with two completely different, stories about how that conversation or communication went. And, they have no idea. They just assume everybody must think the same way they do. They didn't necessarily outright say otherwise. And so that is the whole, and really the grandiose goal for my book is truly world peace. Because if we could all have conversations on this level every day and could share the ability to do so, the more people that become able to and want to set aside judgment and truly listen and understand and be compassionate towards one another. If everybody in the world developed that capability, we would have world peace.
I really second that emotion, because it took me 16 years to believe in that. And Michael, you sent out this email, I think it was May 16th, and I loved it because it started with, for years I've watched good people waste money, time, and energy because they didn't have clarity in their business. And I thought that was great. Talk about why that tagline is important, because you do things that are completely different from everybody, which is why I love the stuff that you do.
Well, a lot of the stuff that I do is because no one taught me how to do it, so I figured it out myself, and that ends up being different because I figured it out myself. That's why my summit's so unique. No one taught me how to run summits. I saw other events. I'm like, wow, these events are awful. Okay, how would I want to run one? I run one this way. Let's do it. Let's go. And the internet, everything's much lower overhead, or at least we don't pay for it. So that's the cool thing. So actually that's how about the 9 foundational questions, which I was inspired to write. And it goes back to when I first started in 2020 in the online business space. And I'm like, so is there like a manual or like a 101 course or a how to get started? And people are like, no. But here's a $700 course on building an email list. And here's a $500 course on creating a course. And here's a $2,000 course on being a coach. And so you get all these, it would be like if you wanted to build a house, and first you had to go to the 2x4 store, and then you had to go to the door store, then you had to go to the doorknob store, then you had to go to the window store. Oh, by the way, there's no general contractors either. There's window installers, there's door installers, there's frame installers, there's floor installers, and you had to find each one separately. Would you ever have a livable house? You'd always be missing something. And that's how most people are in online business. And so I sat down, there must be fundamental questions. Let me see if I can figure them out. And fortunately, the universe was listening. So instead of making me write down 73 questions and narrow them down, the universe just said, here, have 9 questions. And I wrote them down. And I said, holy mackerel. Yeah, I didn't think of these. These are definitely inspired to me. But it's 9 basic questions, which I believe I actually have conveniently in a virtual background. Let's see if I can find it. Ta-da! Look at that. Right there. This is my second interview on StreamYard today, so I'm prepared. But yeah, so it's these 9 questions. You can't see the top 3, but you'll have to trust me that they say, what are your values? What is your big goal? And what, and how do you measure it? So first, what are your values? What makes you do what you do? Both because you have to be in alignment for your business, because if you're not in alignment, you're not going to be excited. But more importantly, your values are not always, people hear values and they're like, oh, authenticity and charity and faith. And yeah, there's those. And then there's the other set of values, which is things like recognition, luxury, comfort, ease. And if you don't know what you value and someone else does, they control you. So if one of your values is recognition and you don't know that, or you don't admit it, someone can flatter you and get whatever they want because you're defenseless there. And then you got to have your big goal and how you measure it. That's the qualitative and quantitative measure of it. So, where do you want to get to? Because if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And then you offer something. And it's what problem do you solve? How do you solve it? Whom do you solve it for? This is obviously the very condensed version of it. And Evie's going to be speaking on one of my summits. I just saw her at a speaker meeting today. So, and that big one is what problem do you solve? Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I offer a 6-week program and we do all kinds of exercises and you'll have homework and there will be videos. And you're like, I don't think I want that. But if instead you say, we offer, solutions to achieve greater clarity and spend less money on courses you don't need. Oh yeah, that's a problem I have, spending too much on courses. So you got to, get to the problem, what it is, how you solve it, and who you solve it for. And then finally, how do you sell? You'll notice these are in backwards order. It's how do you sell it? How do you get people in front of you to sell to? And how do you build your audience? Because so many people start at the other end and they build their audience and build their audience and build their audience. Now, if you're doing if you're Joe Rogan or Brian Sebastian, you're building a show. Yeah. The audience is the product or is the sale, the show, the size of the audience. But if you're an online business, if you're a coach or something like that, you at some point need to get someone in that audience to pull out their credit card and say, I'd like to buy that. And so you need to know how you do it. And so many people that they're like, oh, I'm on Facebook and now I'm on TikTok and now I'm on Instagram and now I'm running summits. And now I'm doing giveaways and now I'm paying for traffic and now I'm doing paid ads. And your audience is bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't make any money because you're not selling anyone. You're just leads. So I say start with, I put you in front of your ideal prospect. What are you going to do? And once you get to the point of, if I can get in front of the right person, I'm there, I'm ready. That's when you then start trying to get in front of the people. You don't start by generating leads and then figure out how to sell them. But so many people I know in the industry are missing 1, 2, 3, 7 of these answers. And if you don't have the answer, then you're like, I need something. And then, you go see someone like Dean speak and you're like, oh my God, he's so confident and handsome and successful. I want a piece of that. I'm going to take whatever he's selling. Now, maybe you don't need what he's selling, but you're just so excited, like, oh, he's the guy. No, okay. Then you see Susan speak, and you're like, all right, she is so confident and successful and experienced. I want some of that, and you buy what she's selling, but you don't need what she has either because that's not the thing you're missing. So I wanted to create the foundational program, start here, and then from there build up to, okay, now I need to get successful on stage. Now I need a Facebook strategy. Now I need a funnel. Now I need a course built. So, but you start from the foundation and build up, and not just, all right, let's buy some 2x4s. Maybe that's how you build a house. I don't know. So,
Terry, you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I'm back. Okay, you can see the view here. I'm in Pismo Beach. So I don't know what happened to my internet, but it's working better outside. So I came outside, but I just want everybody to look how beautiful it is out here. This is God's country, by the way. But I just wanted to add, sales, I've been doing this for a long time, is an art form. And it's something that you can't just walk out there and sell stuff to people. I always use this. A lot of people get the meetings you're talking about, and then they throw up information that the client doesn't want to know about. It's called show up and throw up. Let me say that. So there is always for me, I like to sell as a consultant and find out what are my benefits, what is the return on investment going to be for this person, because they're not going to buy from you if they're not finding a benefit. But then, if you sell them the benefits to them, they're going to want that product no matter how much it costs.
Well, that is true. But here's the thing, Howard, when you were the world's best, top 35 leading interior designers, you created something that they wanted to have in their homes. What did you do?
Well, I did my own house, but I've actually come out with a new design style. I hadn't told anybody about it yet. And I'm thinking about writing another book. And the last style that I heard about was called high-low. And I've got another one that, so I'm thinking about it. I can't tell you what it is because somebody will copy it. But my thing is, I do a lot of scenarios when I sell people, and I'll give them a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I tell people right now, I'm selling towel pretty much on a regular basis. And I start with the main ingredient first. It's like cooking. You cook like meatloaf, and everybody's going to season it different. Everybody's got a different way they fix it, but one is no better than anybody else. It's seasoned to your taste. So you start with the floor. The floor is the biggest product. So what do you put with the next biggest product? Let's say it's a bathroom. So you got the shower wall after the shower floor. Then you got the shower floor after the shower wall. So just like cooking, start off with the main ingredient. What looks with that? What looks good with those two? What looks good with those three? And work down. Or you can use the comparison of an Oriental rug. An Oriental rug pretty much tells me what to do in the room. It's got the colors. I see the pattern. I know what to add. But you go try to add an Oriental rug to an existing room, it's very, very hard to do because you cannot find the colors that you already have in an existing rug. So when you go and approach things backwards, it's not the same thing. You spend days, people get frustrated. And what happens is usually people, they'll shop and they'll get tired and they'll make a mistake. Well, guess what? The next time they go shopping, they're going to do the same thing because they're not listening. They're not going about it in a logical way. So they keep making more and more mistakes and they become more and more distrusting of other people. So it's a vicious circle, but I know how to break it.
Michael, I think that's exactly what you said in a different way, because I love those 9 questions and I'm kind of following them in a different way. And then, so when Dean, when it comes to you, when you ended up on, whether it was a CNN or ABC or whatever the case might have been, what was that like for you? Because you don't just end up on these shows. You have to have something that's unique that they like. You're on mute, Dean. Oh, he's kind of unmuted himself.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, inevitably, it was always an interesting news story, a hook, something of value. Mostly, it was having to do with often a fundraising event or an event where we're raising funds for the cure for cancer or for all these other kinds of things. So, yeah, I wish I could say I was that interesting.
Hey, these no. These shows aren't going to put you on if you're not interesting. And you being that magician, and I know for sure Michael wasn't going to put you on one of his stages if you weren't interesting. And hold on. Who's this person, Michael? You got to talk about her. Who is she, Eva? I hope I said her name right. You're on mute. Oh, Michael's on mute now.
Yes, I am. I was warming up. I didn't want to just give you like the raw footage. I needed to prepare. But yeah, so Evie, she's both on the Breakthrough Summit. So one of the challenges is when you have 250 speakers come across your stage, is when asked to introduce one on the fly, I don't always have all the information. But I do know she's in Miami, and if you really want to know about her, you should join us at the Money Mastery Summit on June 6th. And then you can hear her speak yourself. And she will tell you her story. And I'm not going to attempt to try it and butcher it. Dean knows. Hey, Dean, you know her story. See, he says so in the comments. Tell us all about her, Dean.
Evie is amazing. And she has an organization called Business University, where she actually teaches people how to do business with email, with their FAB. FAB is her chocolatey goodness, where she helps people literally understand their money awareness and how to become wealthy inside and out. And she's a Hay House author, and just super awesome, incredible woman.
Well, that's the fun thing about you authors. It's always good. Everybody's got a book except for me. I'm working on it through that ghost version of things, but that's why I like promoting authors. I couldn't write to save my life. I love what Susan wrote. I can't wait to read Dean's, and all the books that I do get sent, I do read them because it's important. You have to, and I take them cross country with me, and I show them on red carpets and things like that because I think it's important. They may not always be able to be there, so I want to take what they worked hard on and showcase it to other people in different places. So when I go meet Bernie Talbot, I'm taking Susan's book. Susan, I got one more book, and I hold on to it tight because I just don't want to give it to just anybody. So I want to give it to Bernie. And for those people who don't know, it's Elton John's writing partner. He's into the artist world. So I'm going to, we have a private meet and beat for about 15 minutes in Nashville. He's being, I think, inducted into the Nashville ASCAP, the songwriters. There's all CMA awards in Tennessee that weekend. That's why I'm going there, because they want me to meet them. They want to put us together. And I said, sure. So I look at it, Michael, as how he's created the stuff. When he puts something up, I'm like, oh, can I make this one? Oh, I can't make this one because I missed this Friday Entrepreneurs Village, and I don't like to miss it because they are fun. And Susan, if you have time, I hope Michael invites you because I like meeting who he's got. And I like small, intimate things like that because the people are really cool. And that's how I met Dean, also on the stage. And so I'm always wanting to tell people about what he's doing because I love what he's creating. It's exactly how he talked about it, taking something in a different way and turning it into his own. And I haven't seen anybody else do what he's doing. And I think that's why I really love him. And that's why I wanted to have him on the show anytime he wants to come on, because he's got great things.
Well, I'll get you some more copies of my book. And it's kind of interesting, the connection to Elton John. I don't know what the scenario was, but I do know Marsha Martin was invited to dinner at Elton John's once.
Oh, interesting. All right, Terry, talk about this real quick. We got the Ed Asner event coming up. I think it's June 15th. Talk about what that was last year, because Susan's going this year with you.
Oh, it was awesome. I got to interview Tom Arnold, Eric Roberts, a slew of celebrities. It was a really, really fun event. It was at Raleigh Studios. Brian, it's the same. It's at Raleigh Studios again.
Was that Radford Studios in the Valley?
Radford Studios. Sorry, I'm tired. Again, yeah, it was a great event. They do it like in the New York section where they give the hot dogs and beers, and the celebrities they have a poker event. It's a lot of fun, Susan. You're gonna get ready for it. So we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, see, that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Michael, talk about your Friday Entrepreneurs at 2 p.m. East Coast time. Why is that unique? Why is that special? Why I like that? Because again, I want to have Susan in that because she's starting to spread all over the place, and I couldn't be more happier for my friend from what she's doing because she's worked her ass off.
Absolutely. Yeah, I tried to drop a link in the chat, but it wouldn't take it. So apparently doesn't.
We got it now.
But it's guywhoknowsaguy.com/village every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The concept of it actually came from reading the first chapter of a book called Hey Hun, which is a book that is somewhat negative on the concept of network marketing. It is the dark side of it, and I've seen the light and the dark side. But the dark side of it is that they take advantage of people's desperate need for community. You know, we're lonely, we need connection, and that's true for stay-at-home moms, and it's true for entrepreneurs because it's lonely at the top, and when you're at the top of an organization of one, can be pretty lonely. You know, your family doesn't understand what you're doing, your friends don't understand what you're doing, and other entrepreneurs you might see as competitors, or just, you know, you're not really connected with them, you haven't networked in that way because you're not a compulsive networker, you have actual skills filling up your time. So I said, let me create a space where people can find that sense of connection without the obligation to build a team or make sales, or, you know, we don't owe anything to each other other than fellowship. And it's not explicitly built to be a networking group, although networking certainly happens there. It's built to be an entrepreneur fellowship group. It's an entrepreneur village. And so we open up with celebrations, talking about, you know, what's good in our lives, whether it's business or personal. We introduce ourselves, we chat, it's pretty loose, and then we have guest speakers come in and share knowledge. It's somewhat almost based on like the way Rotary meetings were when I was in Rotary. It's about creating that fellowship and connecting and kind of organic networking. And it just creates this really, you know, fun, casual vibe. It's not the kind of place you're like, how many connections are going to make? Oh, that attitude, none. But if you hang out and you come to serve and you come to help, instead of, you know, the typical networking event has that thing about like, my ideal customer is people looking to buy or sell a house. So if you know someone looking to buy or sell a house, we don't actually even have that in the village. What we do have is requests for resources. So you could say, yeah, I'm looking for someone. I need someone to help me with my social media. Does anyone know someone good? Or does anyone know a better email system? I'm getting tired of mine. I need a better one. What have people found success with? So it's sharing ideas, it's sharing resources and tools. And then incidentally, referrals do get passed. They're not tracked because that's not what we're built for. But, you know, referrals get passed, deals get done. But it's in that casual, informal sort of way because it's built about creating that community and eliminating the loneliness that we have in entrepreneurship. So it's just a fun group, and surprise, surprise, my unintentional fun group creates great networking. My very intentional JV Connect also creates good networking, just for the record. But my unintentional fun group is creating, you know, great networking because that's what a lot of entrepreneurs need, is that sense of connection. Getting back to the values, connection tends to be a value for most people one way or another. And if you don't realize it's something you need, then you can be manipulated into, you know, yes, come join with us. We'll support you. We'll be here for you. Just bring in 10 people to the team and make 10,000 XYZ of sales, and we'll love you. And if you don't make 10,000, you're a loser. Don't talk to me. So, so we try to create that authentic connection. And the only thing we ask people to do is show up and be a good person of integrity, and we will love them.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys the craziest thing I ever heard said by the owner of a network marketing company? And I have nothing against network marketing. But the craziest thing I ever heard anyone say as the owner of a network marketing company is this: if we find a way to package and sell poop, you will purchase and take poop.
Oh, geez.
I was like, no, I won't.
I've heard sales trainers say that kind of stuff before in my career, Susan. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the epitome of what's wrong with it.
But that was
Yeah.
a wellness company.
Now, I've been through a ton of sales training, and some of the stuff that, like, I'm like, yeah, that would be one of them. I'm like, yeah, I've been there, Susan. I know.
All right, we got a couple minutes left. Howard Wiggins, giving everybody your social media links and why they should follow you besides your dancing.
Howard Wiggins, of course, yours, movies review and more. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You don't know what I'm going to wear next. You don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't even know what I'm going to do next. So just follow me. I'm entertaining. I kind of entertain myself too.
And he does. He likes to dance. And for some reason, people on YouTube love Howard. When I put up 9 20-second clips, they get thousands and thousands of views. Howard is one of the reasons why we ended up getting over our 2 million view mark. It was because of the shorts that I put up on him. I had no idea. They just love his dancing. I still don't know why, but I'll take it. Thank you, everybody out there. Susan, talk about speaking and where we can get you next, and also Easy Way Network. Talk about what you're doing with Eric.
Yeah, I do really appreciate, Brian really spoke fairly highly of Easy Way Network, and really, was the catalyst for me to get even more involved. But they've gotten me to a lot of events. They've gotten me a lot of connections. I had reached out to somebody who specialized in marketing books, and they wanted me to spend $30,000 to get on some low-level podcasts, and told me they'd never get me on TV. And, because I wasn't a big enough name and didn't have a big enough producer or a big enough publisher. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. I know Brian Sebastian. He's, the 15th globally ranked podcast. So I don't need to pay her $30,000. I'm going to reconnect with Brian. And I've reconnected with Easy Way. I was on their radio show yesterday. And
congratulations.
They are helping promote me as well. And then by chance, I happened to be on KTLA not too long ago. I agreed to take part in a different segment so I could meet the segment producer, and I actually spoke with her, and she's still working on getting me on KTLA with my books. So things are just
congratulations.
Congratulations, Susan. You deserve it.
Exactly. You really, really do. So, Dean, we got a couple minutes left. Why should people reach out to you? What do you offer them? Because you just fascinate me. I love watching what you do. When I saw him put up the flyers, I'm like, I like this guy. Michael said, can we have someone to do this? I don't even think Michael asked. I think Dean just did it. And I loved it. I'm like, I got to have this guy. He's got to be part of what we're doing. Talk about what makes you unique and why people should follow what you're doing and buy what you have.
Here's the interesting thing. I really don't have anything for sale. I give away 99.999999% of all the content, all the insights, all the information. Michael and I share the same sort of value system in this regard. We give this stuff away. And then if you need a little bit of help, like it's beyond your, call me. And if I'm available and if it makes good sense, then maybe I'll help you and we'll come up with a deal. But here, you can get free content all over the place. ContactDean.com, free gifts, tools, resources. There's really no good reason to follow me other than if you want to make a difference in your life and the lives of others, then be happy to help if I can. No pressure, no big deal.
And I like that. And he's really active on social media. I mean, I really like what he's doing, So again, I like people like that. That's what movie reviews and the more part is. The more part, we're not asking for anything, really. We just want people to be successful. We want to help get their brands out there, no matter what it may be. Terry, tell people why Nonstop and why you're good at doing red carpet interviews, because you're better than I am.
It just comes naturally to me. I'm just a big ham, and I like to talk to people. I like to find out what makes them tick. I'm sorry, I've had a long day. I don't know. I'm natural on the red carpet. I try to make people smile. I try to make people happy, and show the best side of them. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the fact that you and Susan are going to be doing more things together, I like that too, because there's a couple other things coming up. July 9th in Los Angeles, the Game On Gala. Susan, I'm going to have you come if you're available to. You'll like that. Max Soto, who I met through Terry. And he does 3 or 4 events a year, and they're really, really good. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
I know Max for years. He's a very good friend of mine.
Exactly. Oh, social media, Terry. How can people reach you?
I'm sorry. Terry Marie Nonstop on all platforms. And I do have a website that's terrymarieofficial.com. I owe a bunch of people some videos. I need to really start talking about my nutrition and exercise stuff. So keep a lookout for that. I'm admiring this beautiful view that I have tonight of the ocean here in Pismo Beach.
Susan, did you give your social media links? In case you didn't,
Yes.
do it again.
Yes. So Susan Postnikoff on LinkedIn and Facebook, and that's the best way to find me in social media. The company Performance Mastery Consulting Inc. is pmc-team.com.
And Michael, you get the last word. Talk about your event coming up real quick and how people can reach out to you on obviously Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern, Entrepreneurs Village.
So a couple things. So I run all kinds of summits. You can find them at summits.fun because all summits should be .fun. Summits.fun is that website. And then I'm going to drop one more. So you can find me on various social media sites. So there's a whole lot of imposters that's a whole nother story. Beware of the fakes. If you go to guywhoknowsthegui.com/TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, that'll take you to the right place. But I want to share a gift that I created today, which is guywhoknowsthegui.com/excuse generator. It is an automatic excuse generator. So if you ever need an excuse, just go to guywhoknowsthegui.com/excuse generator, and it will generate an excuse for you. That sounds completely ridiculous because, if you're going to do an excuse, you might as well do a hilarious excuse.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I want to thank everybody coming on, and I really wanted to have Dean and Michael together on that. And Eva, I hope I said her name correct. We got to have her. We have to have her come on a future show with you guys. We'll make that happen. That sounds like it'll be fun. You guys have been fun chatting with each other, and I like that. So I always say this: have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. If you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.
Bye.